Ladies and gentlemen, we're back again.
Designer podcast today, as usual, a nice sound from Bionic Brew sponsor. Not only we have the beers from Bionic, but we have Chi or Angie from Bionic as our special guest and our new neighbor in Nantou. Welcome to our podcast, Angie.
Happy to be here.
It's been a while that we moved here in our own new studio, and it's been a while also that you open up your new Bionic
Tap room?
Yes, tap room in here. How does it feel?
Well, we like this neighborhood and like our neighbors, like you guys, but this place is still new to us. We've just been here for like a month-ish, actually opened. We've been like doing the construction, everything ever since after the Chinese New Year.
Right.
But we just had our first opening day last Saturday, I think. You were there.
2 days
Shady
ago.
was there, yeah. Yeah, so it's good. We're still improving, but we're enjoying being here.
Nantou.
We love having you in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
You know?
I like you guys like being here. We see you guys
Almost
more than
every
I
day,
see my
basically.
family. That's true. Yeah.
Indeed. No, it's always nice to, on the way back home or on the way to our studio, to have you as friends, but also for the nice beers you guys make and the yummy food that you are preparing. So we are very happy to have you guys around us. What brought you guys to Nantou? I know there is much more than just your new place in the timeline of what is yet to come, right?
Yeah, so first was because last year, like after, it was like during the COVID time, COVID started, so our Baishizhou tap room just got all fenced around it, so it got like hard for people to come in. And in the end, we just decided to shut down that tap room because there's no point to going on when people
Right.
couldn't come in. So we closed
And also
one.
that area too is set to be demolished as well.
It's all gone. Like
It's all gone,
the
right?
place
Yeah.
we had our tap room, now it's like flat.
So
Last time we went there.
So whether or not like COVID happened or not, you guys would have been
Yeah, I think
For-
that
forced
was
to-
about time.
forced to move out.
But that's what our idea was, like to leave when Baishizhou like start to kick us out.
Right.
We want to be there as long as we could. So we kind of met our goal as well. So after that tap room like closed, and that was just like, oh, that's the time Joe was like stuck in the U.S., couldn't come back.
Because of
So,
COVID?
Yeah, so I got back first. And he was supposed to come after me, and the COVID happened. He was like stuck in the U.S., couldn't come back. So we closed that one. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just take time because no one knew how long the COVID is gonna last. So I was just thinking we would just like take time to find next place and see how the situation goes.
Right.
And then I checked several places, but I didn't really happy with them. So in the end, we got kind of in touch with Nantou people, but I was like busy preparing the beer fest last year. So I didn't really have time to come to this place. So I just told them, why don't you guys come to our beer fest and have an impression of what we do? Also, like besides making beer. So they came to our beer fest last year, and they were like really liking what we do and like the ideas, value we present.
Right.
So that's how the dialogue started, and we came here, check out this place. We like Nantou, the history, and like what they do based on the history, like the local buildings, not just like remove them all and build new things. So we thought that matched perfectly with our DNA of Bionic. So that's why we choose to be here.
This one then is Bionic number 4, 5, depends what we
Yeah.
count. I think we
Yeah.
went through this with
With
Joe,
Joe,
right?
yeah.
It would
Yeah.
say 4 or 5 depending on the little in between one.
This would be number 4.
Because we had several in Baishizhou. We had 3, 4 in Baishizhou. We also had some pop-up, like
Yeah, the
other
pop-up,
places.
yeah.
Right.
So this is kind of our third location. Definitely a more like a mainstream one, if you put it this way. Because Baishizhou is like very unique, but it's more a little bit more underground feeling than this one. So.
Well, the design and the place looks very nice, and for sure I can see there has been much more, let's say, energy and I don't know, let's say, dedication and detail into this. It's like a big step up. Are you happy of all the outcome so far? Of all the, I know there's always crazy problems until the very last. Someone getting stuck in the toilet and crashing the door. Like, I mean,
Yeah, that happens. You know.
for those of you who want to know who it is, I will put a link above here about a podcast that we did with our
won't mention
friend
any names.
that couldn't get out of the place the other day. I don't want to mention it, but I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He better tell the story himself.
Exactly. I think we
That
will.
was That was a fun night. Yeah, for sure. Everyone had fun. Yeah, talking about this new tap room, it's definitely very different than what we had before in Baishizhou. Also because we were in Baishizhou, there was not much we could do. Like, it's not commercial area, like you can do a big renovation. And also we never knew how long we could be in one location. So it's like no point for us to put too much effort or money into the renovation
To those
and everything.
places
Yeah.
before, right? In Bashizhou and
Yeah.
so on, right? Yeah.
So this one, we knew we were gonna be here for a while. So we just took the effort and do the whole design, like more toward the idea we always wanted to do. And
Much more structured, let's say,
yeah,
so, right?
yeah. So our friend, he used to live in not Shenzhen, but Beijing. Modi, he did our design. He based in California right now.
All right.
So we're happy with all the neon lights and like a little bit cyberpunk-ish feeling he created for the space. It was hard with the construction, like to deliver what he designed, because a lot of things, it's available, but it's like a local contractor. They were like just trying to find a cheaper or like a easier solution,
Right.
not just always want to give you what you actually want. They were like a chabudo. It's like
Chabudo,
it's like
right,
a
yeah.
similar. No, it's not. So there were a lot like fought back forth in there, but I think we got pretty close. Not ideal, but like close to what we wanted to create here. So we're
It's
happy.
very nice feeling. I like it very much. The vibe and the look and the colors. These
Yeah,
neon
it's really well
tubes, very matching. I mean, it's what you can expect from look. If someone doesn't know your brand and stuff, having a first impression of the logo and the look of the place, I think is very good match.
Also, it matches like the name of the festival too. You know?
Right.
Electric City.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is something that we can already, I guess, disclose and announce. Now, the last one was in Futian for the first time, right? You just moved it last year. But there's new plans and new perspective into that, right?
Yeah. We are going to have our new one here in Nantou. That's the discussion we had with Nantou management from after last year's beer fest. So we were quite happy and excited about it. Because this place, we always want to be a place, like a one place located there and based there. Because if you are in the same environment and everything is more stable, then you can better to improve and develop. Because every year you have feedbacks, you want to do different. But if it's different location, then you always like have to make sure that like the fest could happen first, because
Right.
new location, it could be like you have to like
Also closing the deal, organizing
Yeah.
everything, new rules,
yeah,
maybe
like
in the new
what,
place.
like the local government, do they allow it, or do they change their mind last minute, or
Right.
it's like the voice problem, like the noise problem, everything. So it's always things you need to take to consideration first. And if you're at the same place and you kind of develop a relationship and a feeling about this place, so you can improve the other parts, not just the location, the
Right.
factor related to that. So I think from here, our plan is just keep doing the beer fest here in Nantou. Also, this is like the landmark of the city. So I think it's going to be more unique and more interesting for us to be
I think
here.
it will be a great venue. I can already imagine. It's gonna happen here on the square, like below us, or scattered around. How are you planning, or is it not planned and decided in these details yet?
I don't know what's the name of that one actually. It's like with the bamboo thing.
Oh
the
yeah,
bamboo
the
pavilion.
bamboo pavilion by
Yeah.
Mango
That
Tram.
one. The plan is doing there, but we need to confirm that in the end, by the end of maybe like when it gets closer with them. Because they are still developing. There might be a lot of
Exactly.
locations like are more suitable for
One
us.
thing I can imagine, because now, as you said before, Nantou is still like up and coming, even though it's developing very fast, but it's not like 100% completed. I can imagine that Nantou, as an urban area, compared to any other location where you could find it, it would even allow the possibility of being kind of scattered in more than one place eventually. Maybe in 2-3 years, when it will be all done, the square where we did the fried rice and the square with the bamboo here in front of Gaga, where we did our event there. There's a lot of up and coming places where, I mean, how many beer brewers are you hosting? Like 30?
Yeah,
Right?
That's the goal. Like
So
30 at least.
imagine if you don't have a space big enough for that. Of course, probably there is an issue of management of ticket entry, as usually is managed as a kind of enclosed island. But at the same time, I guess that as long as you have a bracelet, you can make the difference. And no, it's cool. We are very happy for sure to
Yeah,
know that
I'm
the
like-
beer fest
It's right
is gonna
outside
be here.
our building.
Yeah, it's
But
perfect.
tell us, I mean, this beer fest became a very iconic event that everybody knows and everybody looks for every year.
And is this the first craft beer festival in China, or were there other ones before you guys started doing it?
Well, we don't have like really the statistics or like a data, but based on our experience, I think it's one of the first craft beer fests in China, and definitely one of the few like earliest in the whole Guangdong area for sure. After us, like this recently years, more people doing this kind of events, which is great. But well, we were the early ones.
Very free.
Yeah.
How did it start? I mean, the day you guys had the ideas, you already could put it together. The first time within the same year where you came up with it. Did it take a couple of years to manage? Where the idea comes from? How did it all start? It must be a hell of a work, and I know that you guys are basically doing it
Yeah.
almost on your side alone.
Yeah, I think it's like kind of in Bionic's DNA, the spirits. Like, well, the every first one Joe did, and then he proposed the idea. Like he came to Shenzhen, the first year. Like he came to Shenzhen, he started the craft beer brand called Bionic, and I think a few months later he just started the beer fest, just because he felt like there's no such thing in Shenzhen.
Right.
So why don't we do that? I think that's how we always do things. We are not very big company. We're not very big team, but we just let people. So what? We try. We see this something we could do and make a change. We just try. What's worse the case? We just fail. So what? We're no big deal. We don't think ourselves any like big deal. We are not. So we just try.
But there has been always, I guess, a very big support, not only from people coming to the beer fest, but also from the brands participating, right? I mean, they were all. I always see a lot of brands and new brands. Some are new, some
I
are
think
coming,
that's like
some are historical, and
one of the best
nice
things
community.
about the beer festival is like your philosophy. From what I understand from the previous podcast we did with Joe, is that you guys only take like kind of like small breweries, right? You don't have any kind of like commercial brands in your festival.
We don't take,
and it's
like,
all over from all over China too,
yeah,
you know. So it's
yeah.
like it's not just brands or beer companies from Guangdong or Shenzhen,
Right.
you know. And for the people who come and enjoy, like they can try, you know, beer from all over every part of China essentially, you know, from the north, south, east, west.
Yeah, we don't take like a big brands like a industrial well, then they're not craft beer. So you have to use the Chinese water to make your beer, and you are more like independent. You are not bought by the big ones, Budweiser,
Right.
Qingdao, whatever. They're great too, but they're different. We're a craft beer
Right.
beer fest, so it's supposed to for those craft beer breweries. So that's a requirement. The idea was also just to support and grow this culture. I think it will benefit everyone, and it's an interesting thing. So we did that, and think people appreciate what we do, so they always a lot of them come back every year. So
Right.
that's really great. Yeah.
And I assume also that one thing that probably, I mean, I don't want to say is going to be a problem, like something to handle, is that probably the volume also of people attending it is getting more and more big and more crazy, right? And I think here in Nantou, you will have the chance of probably have more expansion compared to, I mean, let's say the last one in Futian, where it was really bounded within those fences in that area. Well, probably here you will have more chance to expand. I'm sure the numbers of participants will be bigger because it's a pedestrian area. You are involving also the neighborhood. I mean,
It's also like
in
already
Futian,
a
nobody's
tourist.
living there. Like, I mean, so here the people will just come down and
Well, also this is very like it's a high tourist area. I don't want to say tourist, but like a lot of visitors come every weekend, you know, to experience Nantou and what it has to offer. So
Yeah, I mean, we think this area we have more like space to grow, and there's more possibility here. Like last year, I mean, it's a lot of people. We just didn't see that. I mean, we hoped there were gonna be a lot of people showing up, but that's right after COVID. So we had no idea how many people. It might be like no people showed up because that's just right after this big COVID thing. So
it was one of the first big events after COVID that
think
people
so.
could gather actually.
Yeah.
Because I remember we were still going around with the mask. We were filming and stuff those days. So I remember.
I remember Joe was telling us that he was stuck in the quarantine hotel
Yeah, he was in the
while
hotel.
the beer
He couldn't
fest was happening.
Yeah, I sent him some beers though from the beer fest, so
Okay,
he
that's
could enjoy
nice.
some beers from there. Well, but yeah, he was like had to just chat with us and like online. It was so close, but he couldn't attend.
So close, but so far.
Yeah, yeah.
What is the biggest challenge in the preparation and making of such an event on your side?
For me, I think mostly just more some factors just like are more unpredictable, like weather,
Right.
like things like what if it's like the COVID thing, like outbreak of like a disease, you know, and also sometimes because the government regulation, because there was something related and they decide, okay, you guys gotta cancel this event or postpone it. That's an event like the beer fest, we like spend at least half a year to prepare, but you
Right.
never know, like if
was gonna happen until
yeah.
the end.
So that's like something we always just cross fingers. You just have to try your best, but that part it's like harder. The other one is more like a manageable. It's just how much we can deliver, what we want to deliver.
Right.
But those things are kind of more out of our control, and you doing events that could just happen, like weather. We've been lucky with the past 6 years, and it's always been basically good weather. But who knows? Could be one time just start to rain and
Last
worse.
minute
So
thing.
yeah.
Has it always been occurring and happening in the same period, or has been different during
Like
the
always,
years?
like in November.
Yeah. I think the first year we tried different time, but that was the one I wasn't there. Ever since the second one, we're always in November, but we not just randomly like pick that time period because we knew that's like a dry season for Shenzhen and not too hot, not too
Right.
cold. So that's like
It's
more
one of the
enjoyable.
best months actually.
Yeah.
October,
Probably.
November is perfect.
yeah, summer is too hot and also it rains all the time. So November is like a better better month to do so.
And I think it's cool that this is like the first time, or this year will be the first time that you do the craft beer festival, and your bar happens to be in the same
That's
Yeah.
location.
super cool. Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, so like you can give more exposure to your place and have an after party where people
Yeah,
can go.
host people.
You know, host
actually,
host
like,
people,
more like
right?
easily. Yeah,
But
that's
also
really
for the
nice.
logistics of it, at least on your side, you know,
Yeah, it's
more easy
that
to do
there,
it,
you,
you
can,
know.
you have a storage, and
Yeah.
you can imagine that's one of the challenges for anyone of being there.
I know definitely we're gonna have like a little after party up in here after the craft beer festival. Maybe some. I want to do like a brewers podcast with Joe and a bunch of like different brewers around China, just talking about
But
beer
during,
and-
we can think about it, that during, on purpose, during those, what is it, 3 days, right? 4 days, 3 days?
3 days.
3 days of the beer fest, we can do a kind of session with all the different brands, like half an hour each, chit-chatting, maybe you and Joe like hosting it with us so that we give a nice overviews. Probably drink a lot of beers, of course, because we need to try them all. So it's like
We can't just talk. We have to drink some beers too.
we need to try
Yeah.
them. So
Absolutely.
wow,
Yeah.
we have a plan, man. Boom.
Exciting.
And you know, also another cool thing that could happen in parallel when I think about the beer festival. You know, one thing that, okay, I like beers, but what I love of craft
good.
beers and small independent breweries and so on is all the graphics and labeling of it. So it could be cool that during the month of November, we try to put together a kind of
Like an
exhibition
exhibition.
with all the brands that are participating
That's
at
a
the
great
beer
idea.
fest,
That's
about
a
like,
really-
you know,
really-
the labels and the drawings, the original sketches. We have plenty of space for display all of it, and make
The
cans,
cans.
bottles, or things. That can be very cool.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I really like the idea because I think a lot of like a beer brands, the local ones, they're really doing a great job, and also they were like always trying to combine their design with like a local elements.
Right.
There are a lot of cool designs. Sometimes like, oh, I really like this one. So yeah.
Also
totally.
because it's a kind of at the end of the day, if you think about it, when you go into a place that is selling craft beers by can or by bottle, it's a kind of a battlefield for the brands. I mean, you would, you know, okay, maybe you want an IPA rather than a brown beer, but then you never try them, so you would go by how much you like the graphic.
Oh, for sure.
I always chose, many times I chose, oh man, I want this one because I love
Just
the
how
design.
it looks, you know.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
Or the name.
yeah,
Yeah.
Or the name, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's anyway is a kind of a bit of this kind of hipster mood thing of putting nice graphics and a craft beer itself. So I think it can turn out a very interesting, let's say, presence also for discovering more about it, but also showcasing this to our audience and guests, and give a little extra things to Nantou and to the beer fest. I think that by bringing it to Nantou, I think it gives it much more of identity. I mean, the fact that Bionic is literally in Nantou, that you are, for many of the people, I think that they might not realize that it's organized by you guys, because you are very, let's say, humble into how you do it in a very subtle way. It's not just you're always everywhere or stuff, but you guys are doing an amazing job for all the brands and stuff. And here in Nantou, by you guys being here and having this extra support from Nantou and Banque and people like us that love you guys and what you do, having these extra layers of talking about beer and bringing the conversation to another level, I think it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
Good that you guys come.
Yeah, I think it's great. Like, we're now here, the more we can do, and also have people like you guys here. I think like we kind of all knew each other from before, but we were like far from each other.
Yeah.
So we didn't really get so much time get together. Sometimes we're not maybe talking about like creating some new ideas, but sometimes we're just chatting and some great ideas just come up. So I think it's definitely great. We're all here in Nantou and we have more time, chance to communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised that all these brands that come to Nantou, I mean, Nantou, even for those people who know Nantou, if they haven't been here in the past 3 months, they find a totally new environment, right? So
Yeah, I mean, 3 months ago, the street didn't exist. Oh, well, maybe a little bit
Exactly.
more, 4 months, but since February or March,
So
the whole
we-
area was brand new.
also what, like, say, during this month, because I don't know now exactly what dates, let's say is, I don't know, 11, 12, and 13 of November, randomly, okay? I mean, I don't know the calendar, I don't know the thing. But it could be cool that even during that month, there is like a pop-up store of craft beers. Like just a couple of fridges, and all the brands that participate, they can bring the stuff there. So it's a bit of an announcement, like it's a stopover place where you also know that it's there because the festival is coming, and the festival has a certain timing, right? I think it's from lunchtime until evening, but only these 3 days. But all these brands that have to bring their stuff to Shenzhen, even if it's cans or stuff, rather than bring back the leftover, they know they can fill up a pop-up store or our
we can
exhibition. So we will be very happy to host all the leftover, and we will take
I'm
care
just worried
of it.
about us drinking all the product. Like 2 days later, it's like it's all empty.
Oh yeah, no, I'm really looking forward. It's gonna be cool. So you guys are already working on it. I mean, at the end of the day, it takes quite
There's months of
quite
planning. I
a
would
lot
think,
of
right?
planning, right?
Yeah,
Arranging,
I mean,
contacting.
Every year around this time of the year, we already started to prepare for the beer fest. This year it's a little bit different because we had this new bar just started, and I think we are pretty much on track with the new bar. So next big project for the rest of the year is the beer fest. So we usually spend like 5-6 months to prepare, even in just 3 days, but it's a lot of work to prepare.
Of course, man.
So yeah. So we're about to get there. Yeah.
I can imagine. Now it's June, so it's what, like 5 months left, 4 or 5 months left.
Yeah, June.
Do you know the dates already? By the way, I was joking before about it. But
It'll be like first week or second week in November, right?
Yeah, we usually do that. It really depends on, I don't know, like most is like the weather. We would check,
right,
okay, how the weather would look like for the next 2 weeks, and also talk with Nantou, the location where is there any big, I don't
Other
know, like
parallel things,
thing
right.
going on. Not, then we just choose one of these weeks. Yeah.
do you guys will do like some special limited edition beer fest Bionic beer for the event?
We wanted to. I think this year we probably more want to do that because in the past, like you guys just mentioned earlier, like our beer fest either in Lohu, in Futian, we just like it stretches too far, then we can't bring people back to our bar to try more beers, or like because we're so busy we can't like have time to make new beers, but we want to make something special for the beer fest. Yeah, for sure, some like special limited edition just for the beer fest to release.
Yeah.
Something cool, maybe some collaborations. We always do collaborations with other breweries. Yeah.
You guys just been back from Beijing, I heard, right? Bionic
Yeah.
is doing a collaboration beer there. Can
Yeah.
we disclose it or not? Okay.
Yeah. We did a tap takeover in Beijing with the Jing'e, and we did the beer with them. So the beer is not, the like details has not released yet, but we made some interesting related to where we are, like Nantou and or like more like Guangdong area. So we used the local ingredients and made a beer with them. They are supposed to come to Shenzhen and release the beer next month, hopefully, if this whole situation settle with the COVID.
So you will also like host some other craft beers in Bionic. You have for those of you who haven't been there, you have an amazing tap wall.
It's super heavy.
Super heavy. I mean, I was about to say, Sherry, you remember the day it has been delivered? I mean, it was
Pushing it through Nantou.
the four of us, and maybe
3
also
a.m.
the chef, because they arrived late. The movers were gone. Me and Sherry arrived there just to
I got trapped in the
and some
kitchen.
beers. Sherry was trapped in the kitchen for 1 hour because we couldn't move it anymore. We had to dismantle the bar desk and move this huge, like 3 meters long metal
It was
box.
like, what do you call this thing? It's like a cold.
Cooler, like a draft system, like
Yeah,
a
it's a
cold.
draft-
It's basically the
it's like a
cold
big
room.
fridge.
It's a fridge. It's like a cold room, customized.
Right.
It wasn't intention to have you guys to do that, but it just
Right,
happened
'cause,
that
it was
way.
fun. It was
It's
fun.
like
It's
a
a good-
midnight.
Good experience.
I guess everyone just freaked out when the machine, like the big draft system, came out of the truck. It's like, holy, it's really big, right?
Yeah, because Joe told me, yeah, we ordered from the US. Yeah, very cool. It's quite big. When I saw it, I was like, oh man, this is to go from the east gate all the way inside in the a bit up hills
On a cobblestone
with
road.
cobblestone road with only 2 little
With trolleys.
trolleys.
Yeah.
But we made it, man.
Yeah, it was all good.
Yeah, we couldn't do that without you guys. So yeah, really
Nice. You see.
appreciate that.
And another advantage of Nantou and all
Having
the nice
friends in
neighborhoods, all the nice neighbors of the thing, yeah.
And speaking of like special beers, I think it's super cool what Joe told me is that every anniversary for you guys, you guys go and make a beer together.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're not two people like really do a lot of gifts. Sometimes we just think it's like a way to like have to force yourself to spend money on things. So we just thought, why don't we just go make some beers together? So last anniversary we made a saison. It's like a French farmhouse ale. And it's like we used the honey his uncle gave to us for Christmas.
Okay,
So we used that and made a
wow.
beer together. It was supposed to like store for a bit, and we drank it. And COVID happened, and so it was like stored for a year. Actually, it tastes pretty good. He couldn't bring all them back, but he brought some bottles back, and it tastes like a dry.
Where did you go to
wine.
make this? Where did you go?
Oh, so when we're not in Shenzhen, we spend time in the U.S. So we had a place in Denver, Colorado.
Oh,
So
okay.
we had a home brewer's shop next to our house, and since we go there often to drink beers and buy things, so owner was nice enough to let
Allow
us to
you,
brew there,
yeah.
and because we also clean very well and friend with him. So we go in there and brew our own beers from time to time. That's where we brew the beer. It's a small batch, but it was fun.
It's nice, very cool idea.
Yeah, it's so sweet. I love it.
You know what is the thing I remember the most from the day when we made the beer together down in Checo? The cleaning, man. 80% of the operation is just cleaning.
Yeah.
Everything super
Disinfecting,
like water,
cleaning,
disinfecting,
cleaning.
moving. So yeah, man, it's crazy. But I understand it is super important because of the bacteria stuff and things. But yeah, man, it was quite an
That's like
effort,
a different than what people usually think. People's like, yeah, you brew beers, so cool. Yeah, I want to go brew beers with you.
Good luck.
Because they think brew beers is throwing some like ingredients and then you're just like there to taste the beer. It's totally different. Like you go in there, like small part of the time you brew, rest of the time you clean. Like that's basically
Yeah, it's like
basically
20%
more like cleaning.
brewing, like 80% cleaning.
Yeah, once again, the 80-20 rule. 20% you brew, 80% you clean. No, well, it was cool. It was cool process. Yeah, Sherry fucked it up a bit, I know. Like,
That wasn't me. That was your lousy, weak-ass stirring, dude.
I think that you couldn't steer it properly, man. You fucked up the batch. But yeah, no, it was cool experience. So
Yeah, it was fun.
just to share also with our audience, we cannot disclose the location, but you guys have this place where you are doing all the testing of the beers and the new beers. That is very, very cool, very crafty. And then when you get the right things and stuff, you produce them on a large scale somewhere else, right? So that is a very cool backstage behind those experience that we had the chance to have with you.
Yeah, we call it the B Lab. It's basically a home brewing facility for us. It's a small place, but good equipment.
Right.
So once we have an idea, we want to make a new beer, something, use a new interesting ingredients, then we just go there and test it out. Maybe because it's not always like you just like had this idea, you just like work out. So you go in and test and maybe it didn't work and maybe you change a little bit of the recipe. So that's like our lab. So we do like a testing there. Yeah.
That's awesome. It was a great day.
Nice.
Do you mind if I go a little bit personal with you?
Go
So like
for it.
Bionic Brew was already open before you got involved in it.
Right.
So what I understand is that you were a customer first. And then what happened?
So I used to live in the neighborhood.
Of Baishajo?
Yeah, a street ahead. So I used to live there, and that's my what you call in English go-to place. Like I go there oftentimes to drink.
And you're already at this point like a fan of craft beer and like so knowledgeable, because I think like
I wouldn't say knowledgeable, but craft beer wasn't new to me because I used to live in Norway, in Scandinavia.
oh, okay.
So in
beer
Scandinavia,
culture.
it's like
Very,
a big
very
culture,
big, yeah.
like independent local craft breweries wasn't new. That's not something like, that's just so normal, like everyday's life for a lot of people. Of work, we just go out to go to check out some craft beer places and drink some beers. So I was used to that and liked craft beer. And I moved back to Shenzhen and I was just looking for a place, it's a more chill, laid back vibe. I didn't really enjoy Coco Park so lot.
Right.
So that wasn't my place to go to. And I just discovered this place nearby my house, which was perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
So that's my place to
Yeah,
go.
and very unique. I mean, it was very at that time it was a very
times.
unique place in Shenzhen.
It's very unique.
There was no craft. I mean, was Taps open at that time, or was it just?
By the time I discovered the Bionic, Taps was open because I've been to Taps soft opening because I had a friend lived in the building behind Taps.
The one
So
in
I knew-
Nanshan, right? The small one.
Yeah.
The first
so
one.
I already knew that one. But that was different vibe and it's far from where I lived.
Right.
So I just go there, drink beers and everything. And one day I went in there. That I didn't really know Joe because he wasn't the person like being behind the bar or in the location all the time. Plus, that's like not very fancy or like whatever kind of place you want to know. Oh, who's the owner of this great location? It's just a place you go drink beers. You don't care like who owns this place. So I went in there, and that was around the time the bar manager had to go back to like Canada for vacation. So they haven't got anyone to cover the bar for them. So they have a little note and saying some urgent hiring, like a part-time bartender. So I looked at it, I was like, should I do this? I'm not sure. Wow, why not? I'm here all the time anyways, drink beer. Right. Might as well. So I was like, how about me? He's like, that's yours. So that's how it happened, and we got to know each other, and that's how the story started. So it's like we were met in Shenzhen.
So from drinking to like doing everything related to craft beer. It's like
so we should thank craft beer. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I didn't know the.
Now you're like probably one of like the top professional craft beer brewers person in Shenzhen.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I think we could use more female in this industry as well. I mean, there are some girls, home brewers, and people in this industry. A lot, they were like a husband and wife business. So
well, we can say that in the craft beer in China, you are the queen of the South.
Yeah, definitely the queen of the South.
That sounds weird, but yeah. So we're doing craft beer together.
Have you ever designed like your own recipe or like?
Mine?
Yeah, like totally like, kind of like you have this idea of something you want to make, and then.
Oh, the saison is more like our idea together because. We both like saison a lot. So we had this honey, so we kind of made together, but I wouldn't say I designed my own beer because I don't really have that much of the knowledge brewing beers. I'm still learning. It's interesting for me. I'm this kind of person, don't really mind to go like spend a day brewing. Like actually before we start this new location, new bar in Nantou, we had more time to ourselves. So we used to go in and brew beer for a whole day. I had no problem with that. So that's something I definitely could consider just to do more when we had more time. Just now it's like too busy.
Also because, I mean, at the end, when we arrived a bit late again because of Sherry that day, but you would start 7 o'clock in the morning and you would finish 7 o'clock in the evening. I mean, it takes a full
It's an all-day experience, yeah.
Yeah.
Do the whole process. By the way, we are gonna release the old video soon about making beer with Joe and Chi in this disclosed location.
Secret location.
So we will put a link somewhere around here. But yeah, no, it was very cool to get to know all the process behind it. We are great beer drinkers and beer lovers, and I think we made gin, but we never made beer at that time, right? So
yeah, it was my first experience ever making beer or being close to making beer.
Cool.
Like I've always wanted to like, like where you're saying people have the fantasy, making beer is so cool, and like, and I looked up like kits online about making beer and shit like that, and then.
Now you save so much money.
And then, well, no, like after like having the experience with you and Joe in the little lab,
mind.
I was like, fuck that, man.
Forget about it. I'd rather just drink something.
Yeah, I got to clean. You know, like forget it, dude. I'm good. I'm good at just fucking drinking other people's beer. So,
yeah, it's the things sometimes look better from outside, you know.
Yeah, until you actually experience it. But it was great, man. It was and I appreciate like what you guys do. You know, like. You're really like a craftsman of something specific and create a beautiful product. You know, like
and also the way you do it, is like it's really like even like is like your statement that it's in Shenzhen It's coming from Shenzhen. Maybe you would find your beer around Guangdong, but it's one of those things that I like also about craft beers. It's something that rarely you would find somewhere else. It's like, collecting stamps. If you don't go to that place, you will not get that stamp from that country. If you don't come to Guangdong or to Shenzhen, you will not get to try the Bionic beer, at least at this stage. Because, of course, it's very complicated, I guess, for craft beers to think of managing logistics, temperature, whatever, for the quality of the beer, of sending it on the other side of the world. So it's very nice that in your own identity, you're also pushing forward the fact that is Shenzhen made, and here you find it, and creating the festival, and actually creating the community. I think it's also thanks to you that at the end of the days, in the past 5 years, there has been an increasing interest of craft beers and new places opening and so on, thanks also to what you created and installed. So I think your legacy is bigger than you
Absolutely
think or expect.
I have a question. Have you ever make a beer with mango?
We actually had a mango sour we made with 18 Brew. Is from Hubei, which is actually where I originally from. But 18 Brew is they're awesome. They're all friends. So it's a mango sour.
Because like one of like the only indication for me personally about like a season or weather, seasons in Shenzhen, because normally like Shenzhen looks the same all throughout the year, but I always know that it's like spring, summer when all the mango trees are full of fruit. So I think it'd be cool to have like a Shenzhen mango fucking
the mango, and also these other big, I don't know what it's called in English. They have these big like flowers that they fall and fucking splash on the street. You feel splash.
Oh, I know. I don't know what's
That's
called.
I think it's like the national, or not the but like the city flower, or Dongwang flower, right? It's the big red one, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
huge,
can ready. But when it literally falls.
It's huge flower, yeah. It's
in
a
the
huge
street.
flower.
So there's also something that was like, really? It almost feels like a tomato
they have them, like,
flashing, but
by the office in Futian.
yeah. That's why I also see it. I don't know if it's an ingredient that can be used, but it could be a good idea.
Yeah, we're always interested to use like local ingredients. So that's a lot of things we want to explore and try. That's why we have like the beer lab, so we can try some new tests, some new recipes.
That's awesome. Well,
so many things on the table.
We're super excited that you guys are our neighbors here in Nantou. We love your beer.
Looking forward for the festival.
Looking forward to the festival. We really appreciate you coming on to our podcast and having this time with us.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for having us until the late wee hours in your place. Of course, thanks for sponsoring the amazing beers.
One last question and then we're finished.
Okay.
What's your favorite beer from Bionic?
From the 12 taps.
Right now? Well, I always like Bionic Ale.
Bionic Ale?
Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, go to Bionic Brew here in Nantou. Try the Bionic Ale.
An experience not to miss. There's over 12 beers on the taps. Amazing one.
Get a taster if you want to try them all.
Yeah, you can do the beer flight. I think there's only maybe one or two that I missed. All of them were nice.
I think so, yeah.
And it's a nice place. It's a nice neighborhood. If you go there, you can also come and say hi to us. Otherwise, you can keep on following us online and streaming, checking the next podcast and videos that we will make. So thanks once again, Chi, for being here with us. Freddie Shetty, designer.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Out.